If Christianity were true, it wouldn't require faith to believe it. Hi, my name's Timmy Gibson. Welcome to my channel. I'm a former fundamental evangelical, Bible thumping, tongue talking, Holy Ghost rolling pastor. I did that for 30 years, spent 48 years as a Christian. You know, I play tennis. I don't know if I've ever talked about that before. Play competitive tennis. I've been playing since I was a wee little boy. I think I started playing when I was like 7 or 8. And just to kind of brag on myself a little bit, by the time I turned like 10, 11, 12, I mean, I was playing adults because there weren't any kids that could play it at my level. And then when I went off to high school, my freshman year, I walked onto the varsity team, played all through high school, and then, went off to Bible college. Not that many people played competitive level tennis while I was in Bible college, so I had not played for years. Anyway, this all is going to fit into the faith required to believe in something you can't see. So anyway, long story short, I've picked up tennis last few years to get back into competitive tennis. And I was playing the other day with some guys, and there was a dispute over a call, whether it was in or out. And, clearly on our side, we thought the shot was out from them and they thought it was in. And normally we're pretty gracious. Normally we say, you know what, if you really were just convinced it was in, we'll go ahead and give it to you. I mean, we're competitive, but yet we're also very friendly and this ain't for money. So anyway, there's a guy that I play tennis with, and he is also atheist. He actually comes out of the same religion that Dade. Many of you watch Dade, his shorts, the excuse me guy. Jehovah's Witness. This guy's a former Jehovah's Witness. And so he's really familiar with the believing by faith, the no evidence and all that. And so the joke was that, it was out, it was in. And I told him, I said, hey, why don't you just take my word for it just by faith and just trust that, I said it was out, and so it's out. Anyway, we all started laughing. I thought it was really funny. And it made me think of this whole idea that, if Christianity were true, then it wouldn't require faith. It wouldn't require you to believe something, right? Because when you know something, you don't also believe it, right? To believe, it's just, I feel, I'm convinced, though there's no evidence to support that belief. And that's why we call it faith. And again, I've said this in other videos, but faith is of the utmost within the Christian religion. Faith is like a virtue. And in fact, you are ridiculed or put down in many ways if you're like the Bible character Doubting Thomas, who said, unless I see the nail prints in his hands and the hole in his side, I won't believe. And he's ridiculed for that, right? Those that believe without seeing are the ones that are really going to be blessed. Which is just setting you up to believe something that has, no evidence to support that belief. There's no evidence to support that claim. And, I love Forensic Files. It's a TV show. I found it on Tubi. And, it's so fascinating to watch how they solve crimes through science, where just the smallest little hair, I saw one that literally was solved through forensic science off of a hair, like one arm hair in particular. And, watching these little forensic file episodes, it's just so amazing how science can find undeniable facts and through the evidence, right? They discover the evidence that points to a particular suspect, as well as sometimes the evidence leads them to they're not a suspect anymore, right? And some of it seems to be circumstantial evidence, but when this hair matches this person, and when this DNA matches this person, and when this this chip of paint from the car that was on the dead body, and it matches the same chemical composition as the paint that was on the perpetrator, and like all of those things, it's just absolutely fascinating. And then when I think about that, and then I think about Christianity, there isn't any of that. It's all eyewitness stuff and unreliable, way after the supposed event, right? And this is another thing that I've learned from watching Forensic Files. Eyewitnesses just cannot be trusted. I mean, it just can't be trusted. And in fact, there's been several occasions in the episodes that I've watched where there was a suspect, and the police would even say, like, we're just 100% certain. We really believe we've got our man, or we've got our woman, we've got our perpetrator, we've got we've got him. To find out through science, evidence, forensic science, that they aren't the person. They aren't the person, right? And unfortunately, there's been a couple of occasions on these episodes where the person spent 1, 2, 3 or more years in prison based upon eyewitness accounts, just being an unlucky at the wrong place at the wrong time. But when the forensic science, the real evidence that just 100% exonerates this person, they're let free, right? And I find that just fascinating. Again, when I think about Christianity, what forensic science do we have that would prove all the oobly goobly that's in the Bible? None. Now, I know where the argument might come from for those that maybe, if you're a Christian, by the way, cuss and discuss down below. Let me know your thoughts, and I appreciate all your comments, even the ones from the Christians. It's interesting because there's zero scientific evidence to support the claims that are made in the Bible. Now, I know where there can be some, because as a former Christian, I remember these things, the things that I was like, there is proof. We have archaeological proof of such and such and blah, 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 blah. Well, yeah, right? That the fact that the Bible said something about a place, and then they later archaeological dig finds out that, oh, this is actually a place. Well, that doesn't prove anything except that place that they were talking about in the Bible at the time existed and was real. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like reading a fiction novel. I love reading. I've talked about that before. I love murder mysteries, and I just love it. I really enjoy them. And so many times in a book, like I like I don't know what it's called, but where they take a fictional story and characters and put them into a real world situation that is set in a real time, in a real place, with real buildings and real, like, you know what I'm saying? It makes it fun. It makes it fun, especially if I've been there. If I've been to the place where this murder is taking place, I'm like, oh, like they're talking about this particular street. I've been there. They're talking about this particular building. I've seen the building. I've been there, right? It's like anything. I don't know how you are. I love movies too. And I was watching a movie the other day, and they were in Amsterdam, and they were walking down the red light district, and I was all excited. I told my wife, I've been there. I've been to the red light district. I didn't go in. No shame if I did, but I didn't. It's like I've seen these places. I've been there. I've touched it. It's just absolutely fascinating. So again, that doesn't surprise me that in the Bible that some of that stuff is proving to be true because, yeah, this was written way back when in real places at real times. And so, yeah, even, some of the characters are real. Some of the places are real. Some of the activities and things went on. Of course, all that's real. And that can be all verified, right? That's true. But that doesn't make the story of Jesus true. It doesn't make the salvation story true. It doesn't make God actually exist as it says in the Bible. Anyway, I find my dog is just whining. Hang on. You guys know I don't edit, but my dog was about to fall off the couch, and she's old. This is Elle. She's 17 years old, and she was leaning on the edge of the couch, and I was going to let her just keep whining, but when I noticed that she was on the end of the couch, unfortunately, she's so old, if she broke some bones, that would be it. That'd be it, huh, Elle? Can you say hi, everybody? Can you say hi? Anyway, so just to finish up this thought on the Wednesday edition of the Timmy Gibson Show, your atheist preacher, that's the part that really did it for me. Amongst, I've done so many videos and I've talked all about all the different reasons that I've left Christianity. But this is part of my story. When you really look at the evidence, that the scientific, the forensic evidence, if you will, there isn't any. It's like that. There is no evidence to support the grandiose claims that Christianity makes. That the one true God sent his son, which is actually him in bodily form, and that he died on a cross. He was resurrected. Yeah, but Timmy, 500 people saw him and That's just eyewitness potentially. Like, it's like reading Harry Potter. Well, Harry Potter said this and other people said that he said it. It must be real. It's that ridiculous. It's just that ridiculous. And so that was a part of my journey of discovering that Christianity just isn't true. It's based on hearsay. It's based upon eyewitness, maybe, right? I mean, there's no way to even check the claims. There's that old book that I read that I thought was so great back in the day by Lee Strobel, A Case for Christ. When I read that, and I was like, yeah, amen. Come on, Lee. Set it straight. Get all them atheists to know it's true. But when, now I've reflected back on that book, I'm like, none of that is actually, it's not actual evidence. Like, it wouldn't stand up in a court of law, right? I mean, can you imagine? Just imagine if you were arrested, and let's just assume you was innocent. You're innocent of the crime, but someone swore they saw you. They saw you there. They saw you kidnap this person, or they saw you do whatever it was. They saw you with their own eyes. And they saw the car, and you happen to own that same car. You would be like, please get forensic science on this. Like, please get the FBI involved. Like, I need someone to prove my innocence, right? It's the same thing with Christianity. You can't prove it. And I know Christians, I'm sorry if you're a Christian and you think that there is evidence and you believe it's true, and that's fine, right? I can't challenge someone's beliefs. I mean, I clearly do in a way. I mean, really, everybody's free to believe whatever they want to believe, right? I mean, you can believe the earth is flat. You can believe we didn't go to the moon. You can believe that 9/11 never actually happened. You can believe anything, and you're free to believe that, right? And you're free to believe in God, and you're free to believe in, whatever God you decide to believe in. I mean, that's the other problem with this whole thing is people say, do you believe in God? Well, which one are you talking about? There's been thousands of gods over known history. And of course now, especially in America, especially in the Midwest where I live, it's Jesus. It's the Jesus of the Bible. It's the God of the Bible. That's the one true one. All those other ones is wrong. All them's false gods, right? So, even as a Christian, I mean, you have to be honest about this, right? You're an atheist as it relates to Zeus. You're an atheist as it relates to the Muslim God. You're an atheist as it relates to all other gods that aren't your God. And they all feel the same thing, right? Their Muslim God is the one, and your Jesus God is. It's just really quite extraordinarily ridiculous, really, when you really think about it. To think that I was talking about myself because I was a Christian for a long time. For 48 years, I believed in something with zero evidence. No evidence, no scientific proof to support the beliefs that I held. Zero. None. And I finally just decided that I didn't want to do that anymore. And that's the thing for me. If there was undeniable proof of God's existence, well, I'd be a moron to not believe at that point. You know what I mean? But I think also, I mean, I say it a lot. I think it's a moronic belief to believe in something without a shred of evidence to support that belief. Cuss and discuss down below. Tell me what kind of dog you have, and if you like my dog, my little L, my little angel. All right, guys, peace. Thank you so much. Oh, by the way, I do have a Facebook group. If you'd like to be a part of it, we'd love to have you in it. It's called Timmy's Deconstruction Community. We have a bunch of fun in there, and just ask to join, and we'll get you in. All right, peace, everybody.